Alright, what we got here, we're back. Big box store always seems to either have cherries or some dragon melon, which is a mixture of stuff. So we go with the cherries. We got another 10-gallon batch of cherries we're gonna run through the still. I went and got a siphon stick. So we're gonna try, cause in the comments you guys had mentioned I was getting the yeast into my batch, which gives it a different flavor. So I was gonna see how I can siphon it, and I guess racking it, you call it, I think. But anyway, I wanted to take off this top layer, put it in here, cause I ground up the cherries. I didn't grind them up, ran them through the blender, so I want to make sure I get all the juice out of them on that before I attack the yeast down in the bottom here. That, and so we'll get this done. Probably easier said than done. That's probably most of it. Yeah, I blended it up pretty good on there. I don't know if there's a good way to do this. Oh, there's one whole cherry didn't get blended. So, but yeah, I've been doing cherries. Hoping summer comes, we'll get some more fruit in there, but I'm hoping to start doing apples here pretty soon. But right now, yeah, the frozen cherries are the hot ticket item at the big box store. So, been running cherries on here. Towards the beginning of fall, I seen they had frozen watermelon in there and frozen apple, but lately I haven't seen that in there. All I see is you either got a choice of cherries or some dragon melon, which is a mixture from my understanding. If I look at the bag, it says some sort of dragon melon and watermelon and some other thing, which might be pretty good. I just haven't tried it yet. So let's go ahead, set this up. Didn't get much out of there. Let's see how we do with the siphon. Alright, let's see how we do the siphon stick, which I've never used before, so this will be interesting. Put this in here. Down there, okay, that fill up. Flowing? Nope, alright, let's try it again. There, we got a good pump. Alright, that's gonna take a little bit, but that's okay. I don't know if you can see that stick right there. I'm trying to keep it just above the yeast. On that, we'll fill up this jar, siphon stick. And I guess, yeah, called racking or whatever. It'll take a little bit. There, and we'll see. This has been running, I would say, a month on that. I keep it in the house. At night, though, I turn off my heater and it gets down to 66, 65 degrees, so I turn it back on in the morning. So it probably starts and stops. I mean, this time of year, it's hard to keep anything consistent. I don't have anywhere out in the garage here that would stay consistent, so I would imagine that does something to the flavor. I don't know whether it's stress. I've heard stress on the yeast will give it a weird flavor. I have no idea what that does, but this is working pretty good. Thank you. Somebody seen me pouring it, pouring it into the nylon. I've just been normally pouring in the nylon bag, and they suggested keeping the yeast out. I thought, well, let's try one of these siphon sticks, or suggested racking it, which is this. So that's what we're doing right now. We'll go ahead and get this one on there, and yeah, we're getting a clear. Oops. On down, does this thing got to be up and out of the water to flow the thing? Alright, let me stop this. Alright, well, I got some siphoned off. Then I just kept clogging the tip of that. I don't know if it's better to use it without that little clogging thing or what, but pour this into one bucket. It'll fit. Try it again, let it settle. Go from there. Alright, let's let that settle in there. Alright, so I've got, I don't know, these are what, 6 gallons, 6.5 they say. So I've probably got 3 gallons here. I've still got this. I think, just because I'm impatient, I think I'm going to pour it through the nylon bag and then let it sit again on this. Let's see if we can do this without making a mess, knocking over that. Should do. Let's pour it. Let's see. Put this down to level. And just pour some in here. Run it through there and then let it sit. Oh. It smells like alcohol. And then maybe we'll let that sit overnight. See how much. Actually, kind of do a comparison between the one I siphoned and this nylon bag. See how big a difference you can tell between the two. That drain out of there. yeast is clogging up this nylon bag. It looks about the same, honestly, between the siphoning and the nylon bag. May not be that big of a difference. I mean, I get just pouring it in there without running through some sort of filter to get out all the yeast and stuff. Careful, my hands are getting wet. So, yeah, we'll get this all out of here. Set up. Have to be careful. This is not mounted to the barrel, it's just sitting on top there, so make sure I don't put one weight too far one side or the other, I'll just knock it over. Quite a little bag full right here. Empty that. I'll have to find me a bigger funnel. I thought this thing was, when we first bought it, I thought, oh my God, that thing's huge. That'll be plenty, but always use a bigger one, I guess. Yeah, you know what, let me empty this bag, do the rest. Alright, so I've got the one drained out. I ran it through a nylon bag, this one right here. And this is the one I siphoned. There is a little bit of a difference on that. We'll let it settle overnight, see what settles in the bottom. It's kind of hard to tell down here because I put Flex Seal on the bottom way back when I had a glass change jar. Yeah, everybody one of those glass water bottles. I set the corner down on a piece of cement, do something, and just cracked right away. So I put some of this Flex Seal on the bottom, thinking it might hold it together a little better in case I'm not paying attention and happen to set it down on some cement. But that's where we're at right now. I will let it settle overnight and see, come back and do another shot of this. It's a couple hours later, and we did get a little settling down in the bottom there on that. So, Did get a little bit, got a little sediment down there, which this was the siphon jar. And this is the one I ran through the nylon bag over there. So, of course, there's more liquid there. So we got a little more settlement. But, yeah, that's where we're at. Alright, so it's a couple hours later. Everything's settled. We're going to go ahead and put siphon again. Kind of combine these jars. Hopefully end up with a... These jars are 6.5 gallons. This one's 7.5 gallons. So hopefully we'll end up with about 7 gallons total by the time I'm done racking this. Ooh, come on. There we go. Now we're moving. Get all this in here. So yeah, it only took a couple hours to settle down. I thought it'd take a day or so. So it's not too bad. I got a little bit on the bottom there, and we'll get them over. We'll get them all into one jar. So started with 10 gallons or so, and we'll see what we end up with final, the final racking. On this. I honestly thought the first time I racked it that it was coming out pretty clear, but there's probably still a little bit of sediment, and I can see a little bit of sediment coming through even on the siphon right now in there on that. So you're always going to have a little bit apparently. It's not going to be perfect. Clear liquid until you brew it. But it's definitely got a lot less, I must say. Yeah, there's a little bit of sediment in there. I was curious how this is. This is a little more work. Definitely adding a day to the process. Yeah. We'll get it all in one. And then run it. See how it comes out. On that. You guys see that other one filling up? I'm not sure how far down I got the camera going there. It's just me and my phone doing this, so we'll do what we can. I did notice why I was stopping earlier. When you see me stop, I was getting sediment in the tip of the siphon stick, and that would stop it from flowing. So it does work as kind of a filter. You shove it all the way into the sediment, not paying attention, it will clog up the end of the stick on that. We're getting there. We'll get these two into one, and then we'll have a batch ready. tip of the siphon stick out of the, getting into the bottom. I think I'm starting to get some of the got some sediment in there. Pop that off. Oop. Back on there. I don't know, it's just plastic. I don't know how many times you pop that off and going, but that's where we're at. So this is what I've ended up with so far. I still need to let that, so this I siphoned into, filled it up. Could have filled it up some more, but I poured what was left into this. We'll let this settle for a couple hours and then siphon it again and probably call it a day once I get that settled in there, and we'll see how much we get out of that. So far, yeah, we got 5 gallons, 5.5. I'm sorry, 5, probably 8 gallons total right there, and then so we may end up with 7 gallons. Alright, we let this last one settle. I've still got a full one over there that's all got no yeast in it. It's pretty, looks pretty good, but this one I'm going to go ahead and get this siphoned into the pot and then put the pot in place. The valve's turned off down there. And down in the yeast a little bit, but we'll get this siphoned down. You hear it running. So it's filling up in there. Guess you could just pump the shit out of it, or pump it. But it's going down. Just takes a little time with the hose. On that. I have to get me a gravity, see what the gravity is on this. On that, all the hydrometers are just proofers. There's none of them gravity on it. I should start taking the gravity on that so I can get an idea of the alcohol content in the beginning on that. But this is the second run, cherries again. We're doing cherries because that seems to be the frozen hot ticket in there at the big box stores. Bags of frozen cherry, or like I say, the dragon melon, which might, like I say, might be good, but I'm just not, never had it, so I'm not sure what it, I'm probably very good, might make a very good moonshine, but we're getting into March. Everything will start coming to market here. And, it's still flowing. Bringing it just about ahead and stop this. Alright, I got the pot in place. I'm going to go ahead and just pour this other one in here. See if I can get this up. Lift with the legs, remember that. Looks like everything's settled to the bottom, stuck to the bottom, so it's staying in the jar. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. What am I doing? Ah, shoot. Forgot to put that thing in there. Alright, that's perfect YouTube moment. Drain some more of that back in there. Alright, let's clean this up. Sorry, you guys don't need to see my mess. Alright, I had my YouTube moment, and we got, let's see, you see in there? That's what we got in there on that, so a little above, so we'll go ahead and get this hooked up and fired up and go from there. Alright, got the gas hooked up. Let's see if we can blow some hair off my arms. Let's turn this on. Hear the gas. Oop. There we go. Looks like we're hitting about 175. Got a little bit to go, but I'm going to turn it down. I used to run this fairly hot. You guys were telling me I run it too hot, so we're going to go ahead and turn it down at 175. See how long it takes to charge the rest of the system. This one, the cone's at 140 and the Thumper is 60 degrees. It's 60 degrees here in the garage at about 11:30. We'll see what it does. Let's turn it down a little bit. Definitely curious to see how long it'll take to charge the rest of the system on that. And we are going to show you neighbor's riding his mini bike. This is what I got out of when I ran the apple juice, well, the cherry, and then let it sit in apple juice overnight. This is about 170, 80 proof. Kind of scares me. I don't even want to taste it at that proof. Definitely burn. So let's see how long it takes. Alright, so we're about an hour later. We leveled off about 180, 185 in the pot. We're at about 165 in the cone, and the pipe's still cold there. It's warming up there on that. So it's definitely taking a while. I may have to turn that up some more to get the system charged on it. We'll see. Alright, we are working on hour 2 since the pot has come up to temperature. Trying to get that temperature over to the Thumper doubler. The pot's running about 190. This is about 185. The cone, and we are at 120 on the doubler. Definitely probably should not run the doubler if it's 60 or 65 degrees, because this takes forever to come up, bring up the temperature. I may go ahead and make a pipe from this connection straight over to the condenser and just run that during the winter months, because yeah, it's very time consuming when the temperature's not warm outside to try and run that doubler. We'll keep going though. We're finally starting to drip. There, it's coming out. That's the Thumper, and we're at 200 over here. I know everybody recommends running lower, but I could not get any temperature over to the Thumper without turning it up. So it's about 2.5 hours since the pot has been to temperature, and we're what, 190 on the cone. So yeah, I'm curious to see how this turns out. This well, we'll see. Let's let the acetone cook off there, and the bad stuff, we'll get rid of it. Alright, we're at our I would say our 4 shots. We're going to go ahead and swap this out. Let's put this over here, and we will start collecting our moonshine. So we're running about 200, about 190 up on the cone and 180 on the Thumper, and that's all that's coming out. I'm really surprised. I thought it'd be draining a little faster. So we'll see on that. And then of course got my 2 milk jugs in there on there. Alright. And alright, so we filled up first jar. We'll go ahead and get our milk jug, start collecting that. Here. So, and we'll start collecting the parts in the milk jug and consider this the heads. And, ooh, that's got a pretty good bead going there. We're going to definitely have to proof that on that. Alright, we are coming out about 173-ish on that. I did not think it was going to come out that potent. We'll see how it's going. I was wondering why it was a little hot, and that explains it, because the proof's so high on it when I tasted it. Right, well, looks like the brew stopped here. The Thumper has started to cool down on that. You can still hear it. At least I think you can hear it. I can hear it in my ear. You might be able to hear it. I mean, the pot is over 200. It's boiling, sure, but apparently I'm done with the alcohol on there. So, well, I got 1.5 jars, but after I proof this down, I'll probably end up with 3 or 4 jars on that. Well, that's the end of the run. You guys, I don't think I got it on tape, but what I ended up doing, the pot was well, not maxing out, but it was over 200. The Thumper was at about 180. So I went to turn down the gas a little bit, and it looks like I shot myself in the foot at that point on that, and ended up with stopping at that point. It was my second run using the Thumper, so I'm still learning this thing. Column still was a whole lot easier, but I'm trying to get flavor out of it, so that light going again. So we'll do another batch, and I may end up bypassing the Thumper and trying to run that way. See how that does it. And I'm going to cut back on my sugar a little bit. I've been using 8 pounds. I think I'm going to go with 5 pounds, pound per gallon on that, and go from there. All right, thank you.